Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be calling out the Indian community, and what I mean by calling out the Indian community is that there are a few issues and problems that I've noticed growing up about like Indian culture or like just the South Asian culture in general. So like if you're like Pakistani or like Bangladeshi, you're probably gonna relate to this because girl, we got the same issues. Now before I get into everything, I just want to say that I'm proud of being Indian, I'm proud of who I am, and I'm proud of where I come from. I do remember growing up I was a little insecure about being Indian just because growing up in America, like I don't know, I just didn't feel comfortable and I obviously stood out. I remember being like insecure about the color of my skin and like where I came from and like my culture in general. But now I've kind of like grown into like being proud of who I am, and I'm like very confident in myself, and like I don't know, I just love being Indian. But growing up, what I have noticed is that there are certain issues within our culture that isn't like talked about and it isn't spoken about, and I feel like these are traditions that are like held from like older generations and they've been passed down from generation to generation. And today I kind of want to like call them out and break them down, because if we're not gonna have the conversation, then we're gonna continue to have these issues and they need to stop. So let's get right to it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to be talking about is colorism. Now for people who don't know what colorism means, here's the definition. Prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. Alright, so let's break that down. I remember growing up, being dark skinned was something that was never considered beautiful. I know that a lot of people frown down upon it and people don't like take dark skinned people serious. I know that like in the media or like in acting roles, like in Bollywood, girl, where are the dark skinned people? They're all like light skinned people, and like there's literally no one that is like darker than me, and that's just tea, bitch. I don't really understand why that was the case. I don't understand like the whole history behind it, but I know that it's a problem and I know that it's there, because I remember I would have like distant family members tell me, oh, I can't wait for you to grow up and have a fair-skinned girl in your life, and I'm just like, first of all, I'm not even into girls. Second of all, why I gotta be a fair-skinned bitch? Like what if I want like a dark-skinned person? Like what if girl, like what is up with that? Like I just feel like that's so stupid. And with the whole marriage aspect of it happens, like you know how like in India like there's oftentimes like arranged marriages. So I know that like the family members of each side would ask if like the boy is like light skinned or if the girl is light skinned, and if they were dark skinned, like they don't want the marriage to happen, they don't want to like be in that relationship with that person. You want to date someone based off of their skin color, not who they are as a person, because you can meet the nicest dark skinned person and you can meet the meanest light skinned person, but you would go for the light skinned person just based off how they look. Girl, what is wrong with you? Now for everyone that's in a brown household, I know you've heard of the product Fair and Lovely, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically like a lightening cream slash moisturizer, and it basically like makes you like lighter and it makes you whiter. And I don't understand why people use that, because I know like my own family members that use that, and I'm just like, girl, just embrace your skin, be proud of it. I don't understand why you have to basically go to the extent of lightening your skin. And I know that a lot of Indian people also bleach their skin, and it's just like, why is that the case? Why is dark skin not considered beautiful and why is light skin considered beautiful? Because girl, it don't matter at the end of the day. And then another thing is that like, let's step out of the Indian community, let's step out of the South Asian community, and like let's say out in the real world where like we're surrounded by different ethnicities and races. I feel like these people who are discriminatory towards dark skinned people are more likely to be discriminatory towards black people in general, and I feel like it's very evident because I've seen it in my own real life. Like I've seen people who are like discriminatory towards dark skinned people are also discriminatory towards black people, and they have like the wrong assumptions and like they associate negative stereotypes with these people, and I just it sucks. What does that say about you at the end of the day? Because honestly, it just reflects who you are as a person. It doesn't reflect the dark skinned person, it reflects you, and it just shows how much of like, it just shows your character, and if that's your character, it sucks. Alright, so the second thing that I'm going to call out is this thing called dowry. Now if you don't know what dowry is, it's basically when you get married, the bride's family has to give either money or property or belongings to the groom's family. Now my whole thing with this whole situation is, girl, why? Like why is that necessary? Why do you have to do all that? Why do you have to go to the extent of giving the groom's family, of all people, money and property just to marry their son? For what? Just for him to treat you poorly? Just for him to be an asshole? You want to give him money, give his family money just for him to treat you poorly? Girl, what? Girl, no. And I got another question. Why isn't it the other way around? Why isn't the groom's family paying the bride's family? Because what I've noticed from a lot of Indian households, it's usually the wife that is taking care of the whole entire household. She's cooking, she's cleaning, she's going to work, she's doing all this stuff, while the guy just sits there and does nothing. And I just don't understand why that's a thing. I just feel like the whole dowry system in general should not be a thing, because you're basically paying your way into a marriage. You're basically basically saying, hey, I'm gonna give you $1,500 and I'm gonna be married to your son. For what? Why are you paying to get married? Why are you giving away a car to get married? Why are you giving someone a house to get married? Why are you selling your jewelry to get married? For what? I swear to God, if I was a woman and someone asked me for money to marry their son, I would have walked away. I would have left the altar. What I look like? Bitch, I don't even got money for myself and I'm gonna pay you? No. Alright, and now the third thing that I'm going to be talking about is arranged marriages. Now growing up, I've always felt like arranged marriages have no love in them. They're basically a forced partnership. If for me, it's like when you're in class and you have like a group project and your teacher's like, oh, you guys can't pick your partners. I'm going to choose your partners. And then you're just stuck with like whack people and people you don't even want to be with. I feel like that is what arranged marriages are like. You're basically forced to be with this person. You're basically forced to live in the same house, to be in the same bed, to have, you know, intercourse with this person, and you have to cook for this person, you have to share your finances with this person, and that person is a complete stranger. And girl, I don't know about you, but I got trust issues, and how am I supposed to trust you with my life when I don't even know you? Now the other problem that comes from this is that I feel like it could be very oppressive and forceful towards young girls because they're forced to stop living their own lives and just marry some random guy. And like the problem with that is that I feel like some men have toxic egos and masculinities, and they feel like their women can't leave the house and they can't, you know, live out their lives. So they're forced to be a housewife and cook and clean and do whatever the man wants, and they're forced to be mothers and take care of their children and do all this stuff, but they can't go out and venture and, you know, have their own lives and, you know, live out their own dreams and their careers, and they're just basically forced to live in a house for the rest of their lives. And then to add another layer upon this, there are young girls that are being forced to marry, and these girls are like not even legal. They're like 15 and 16 and even like younger, like 14, 13 and going on, and it just sucks because I feel like they should be given the equal opportunity to like chase their dreams and like chase their career goals and like do all this stuff, but instead they're forced to like be married to some guy that they don't want to be married to, and it just, it's horrible. Alright, so at number 4, we're going to be talking about high education / life pressures. I feel like oftentimes growing up in an Asian household, there is a huge pressure and expectation that comes from our family, like our parents, or aunts and uncles, or grandparents, where we have to be at the top of the top of the list, top tier in everything and anything that we do. We have to be the best of the best. In terms of education, I remember growing up, I could get like, in terms of education, there's like a high standard and high expectation. I remember growing up, I could get an A on an assignment, and then I would have someone say, oh, well, why didn't you get an A+? Billy's daughter got an A+. Why didn't you get an A+? Why can't you be more like this person? I feel like instead of encouraging and uplifting your child and being proud of them, these people are putting them down, and they're saying, oh, you could be better though. You're good, but you could be better. And that's a whole issue because it results in like a lower self-esteem, and these kids feel as though they have to live up to a huge expectation, and at the end of the day, they're gonna stop living for themselves and they're gonna start living for their parents, and they're gonna start living for their family. And what is the fun in that? You're basically not being yourself. You're not gonna live out your own life. You're not gonna chase your own dreams because you're being told what to do. You're being told what is expected of you. And then career-wise, we're expected to be like doctors or lawyers or engineers, and it's like, girl, what if I don't want to be that? What if I'm not gonna be content and happy by being that? And I know that like money can solve a lot of problems, but ultimately money will not make you happy. And I know that like a lot of rich people who are like doctors and lawyers, some of them live miserable lives. They go to work and they aren't content with their lives at home because, you know, they're missing out on family time, or they just don't like their family, or they go to work to avoid their family, and it's stuff like that. You look at these people and you would think that by having all that money, they would be happy and they would be content. But all in all, I just feel like there's no space to breathe, and we're just expected to fit this perfect mold of what like your life is supposed to look like and what your education is supposed to look like. And then also, I remember there was this movie called 3 Idiots. It's this Indian film, and I remember one of the characters had high expectations from their father and their principal, and they ended up committing suicide because they didn't meet the expectations of the principal. And he was very like disheartened, and he was very sad about it, and he ended up committing suicide. And I know that's the case for a lot of people where they feel pressured by their parents or their teachers or their peers, and they feel like they have to fit this expectation, and if they don't, they're screwed. Like, they don't know what to do with their lives. And that's a huge issue because we don't want people with more health issues, mental health issues. We don't want more people committing suicide. We don't want any of that. We just want people to be happy, and I feel like by removing that pressure, people would be a lot more happier and just content with their lives. Alright, so the last and final thing that I'm going to be talking about is honor slash family name. I feel like a lot of Indian people are too concerned with what other people are thinking of them and their families. I know that there's this saying that goes, "Log kya kahenge," and it basically means, what will people say? I feel like because of this, people aren't living their full lives and they aren't doing the things that they want to do because they're too concerned about what other family members are thinking of them. They're too concerned about what society is going to say about them if they do a certain thing. For example, with being gay, I know that like a lot of households are like, oh, what will people say about this? You can't be gay because your uncle is going to be mad, or your neighbor is going to be mad. You can't do this to us. Like, you're just going to bring the family name down. And it's just like, why would you even care about what other people think? It's not important and it's not relevant to anything, and it doesn't affect us in any type of way because the opinions of others are their opinions and it doesn't change anything in the world. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone has an opinion and everyone has something to say. That doesn't mean it's of value and it's important. I mean, people just be hating and they just say things out of bitterness and sadness or anger, and they're just gonna spew their negativity onto you, and you're gonna take this personally, and you're just gonna be like, oh, because this person said this, I'm not gonna live my life the way I want to because I just don't want to, you know, rock the boat and make them uncomfortable or make them mad or make them sad. You're just basically stopping yourself from living your best possible life because you're too concerned about what other people are saying about you. Alright guys, so this is the end of the video. That is how I feel about the Indian community and the issues that lie within it. And yeah, if you guys agree with me or you guys have anything to say about these topics, comment them down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.